Greetings and salutations, friends, and welcome back. We begin tonight with a little bit of a change of scenery, but not by much. I have mentioned previously before that the studio that I work in, an office, is in a sort of, I guess you could call it an attic room. And every year it becomes unbearably hot in there without blasting an air conditioner 24/7. And that is bad for broadcasting, especially when audiophiles like to complain about literally everything. So we can't have an air conditioner running during the broadcast. So I'm setting up an alternate streaming location here in my home. And we will do the next several months of live broadcasts from right here. Now, I do not unfortunately, have the multicam set up or a lot of the bells and whistles, because quite honestly, I don't want to rip it all down from the walls. They're wall mounted cameras and try to, and then put it back. So we are just going to do our best from right here. And I will be building out another multicam setup here in this location. We see we've got some different lighting for a change and a little brighter by popular request. I am one who always says that the darker it is, the better for me. The darker it is, the more handsome I get. But many people have commented that I should light the set brighter. So here we are, brighter set. Congratulations. Now, on to tonight. I thought that tonight we could discuss some things that are going on with the UFO profiteers. And many of you, or most of you, know how I feel about UFO profiteers. I have no problem with people who are selling books or stories. I do, however, have a problem with people who are claiming they're selling true stories, when in many cases their so-called evidence is weak or non-existent at best. And therefore, I have a problem with what I call UFO profiteers. And isn't it interesting in that the entire history of UFO profiteers, we have never once seen anyone with smoking gun evidence or proof of actual, the hot term right now is NHI, non-human intelligence. We've never seen anyone with any verifiable evidence or proof of non-human intelligence. It's important that we realize and understand that the UFO subculture is a very profit-driven subculture. And these UFO profiteers have made millions and millions of dollars. Some may say hundreds of millions of dollars since the beginning of UFO profiteering as a so-called profession. And isn't it interesting that selling UFO and alien stories is a profession for some people? And though tonight I only, quite honestly, was pressed for time. So we put 3 of the UFO profiteers on tonight's graphics, and that would be Ross Coulthart, disgraced Australian journalist who has sold verifiably 100% fake stories multiple times now. And I just want to say to you UFO circle jerkers, for those unaware, besides the UFO profiteers, there's also the UFO circle jerkers. That would be these jerk off idiots with podcasts or live stream YouTube shows or whatever that bring the UFO profiteers on and then do this to them for 2 hours. Oh, tell me more stories about your aliens with no evidence and no proof. Ooh, let me get those clicks and views from this big name so-called UFO celebrity. They ask no hard questions. They demand no evidence, and they are a large part of what's wrong with this entire thing. The major and main problem is the UFO profiteers. However, right behind that, right up there with the top problems with this thing is the UFO circle jerkers, who also are UFO profiteers. They profit by doing zero research. They profit by doing zero fact checking. They profit by repeating lies, from these UFO celebrities. And we have seen it before. Someday I'm going to make a chart and a graph so that everyone can understand how this pyramid scheme works. But I will explain it in simple and quick terms. You have at the top of the pyramid the top earning UFO lying scammers like Lou Elizondo, like Dr. Stephen Greer, like Ross Coulthart, like everyone at Skinwalker Ranch, right? Like everyone on Ancient Aliens, like Linda Moulton Howe, and many, many other personalities like Third Phase of Moon, and to a lesser extent, even their underling ass lickers like Richie Grifton, right? At the top of the pyramid are these people that are making hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions. We've also got at the top of the UFO grifter pyramid scheme people like Corey Good. By the way, there's a lot of stuff going on in Corey Good land, and we'll be covering all of that tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tomorrow night, join me for what will be an amazing breakdown of the latest lies from everyone's favorite secret space astronaut, fake Buck Rogers, secret space jerk off. Yeah. Ooh, that guy. Yeah. We'll do that tomorrow night. Late breaking news, however, from Corey Good's camp is that the judge has ruled on the so-called sanctions that he had to try to get imposed against the lawyers for the people he's suing. And the judge confirms that while it was a lack of professional conduct or something like that to leak those depositions to anyone, it was unprofessional, wasn't illegal. Therefore, Corey Good and David Wilcock basically both lied to everyone when they said that us here, Truthseekers, releasing or publishing those depositions was illegal. Completely not. And now we have a judge's court order to prove that what we did was not illegal. So they are slandering us, right? But, look, it's not like I'm going to sue anybody for slander. It just shows you what these UFO profiteering whores are willing to do to keep the grift going. They want to keep this con going at any cost. That deposition got out where I said I've never been to space. Tell everybody it was illegal releasing that because it was confidential. No, it wasn't, and no, it wasn't. But let's get back to the UFO profiteering pyramid scheme. That is the UFO grifter squad or UFO grift. So at the top, we've got all of these people. We've got Stephen Greer, Linda Moulton Howe, Richard Dolan, Third Phase of Moon. We've got Lou Elizondo, right? We've got all these people at the top that are making ridiculous amounts of money. Do you know it costs $120 to get an autograph by Linda Moulton Howe? Isn't that awesome? I really want to pay $120 to get that old bag to sign something for me, right? Who's been caught selling fake stories multiple times, including selling completely and totally fake alien pictures. Why is she still being booked at Contact in the Desert? Why is she still being booked anywhere? Why is she not in prison for consumer fraud? I don't know. I'm not a law enforcement officer and I'm not a lawyer. But selling 100% provably fake pictures of aliens as real and charging people $120 for an autograph while you're doing that, to me, that's a form of fraud, at least in my opinion. So we've got at the top of the UFO grift squad pyramid all the people. Let's do this, right? All of the main grifters are in there. All of the big money grifters, the one making all of this money, the ones getting tens of thousands of dollars to speak at one conference, the ones getting $333 for some course on nonsense ascension, or the Archangel Michael telling me to piss on myself to get superpowers, right? People like Linda Moulton Howe getting $120 just for an autograph. How many people could sign up? There are probably 100 people in line. You do the math. These people are making ridiculous amounts of money. It is insane, the amounts of money. And by the way, I heard somebody say they hope they see the cash clown a lot tonight, and so do I. And I would just like to say in advance that we should praise the cash. I'm checking in with the live chat. None to call out yet, but it's still early, so don't worry. We'll be praising the cash, and thank you all for being here. We've got huge attendance tonight in the live chat. We want to take a moment to recognize and thank you people in the Twitch chat. Thank you people watching on Facebook Live or on our Twitter live feed or on Rumble. Thanks all of you for being here, and people are in the Twitch chat as well. I will see your comments in the Twitch chat, not so much in the Rumble chat, but we'll be checking in. So at the top of the pyramid, oh, and there we go. We've got My Flock is Everywhere. Thanks for two things, being a member and a 99-cent super sticker. Thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support of the show. We are praising the cash tonight.
Praise the cash, praise the cash, praise the cash.
As much as I'd like to, I cannot praise the cash as much as the grifters, right? Because apparently people get paid a lot of money to lie to people, but to bring you the truth, we pay this truth tax, right? We get like 1% of what the grifters get, but we're thankful for it. And I don't wake up every day looking for new lies to sell to stupid people. Or I'm supposed to stop saying that. Somebody complained in the comments. Lies to sell to naive, vulnerable people. Is that better? Is that better? People want me to be kinder and gentler to some of these people who have been taken in by these scams and scammers. And certainly I should make an effort to do that. So at the top of the grift pyramid are the big names, right? The people you've seen on Ancient Aliens or Comic Disclosure or Gaia TV. Everybody on Gaia TV is on the take, right? Emery Smith, George Norrie, Sarah R. Adams. Angela Lee got hired by Gaia TV after her entire original story got blown to crap as being fake. She still got hired on Gaia TV. You gotta love the grift. I do. I love it. All right. So underneath the top layer of the grift squad is a lot of the bottom feeders, people like Sean Cahill, right? And others. Oh, we forgot. At the top of the food chain is certainly Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp, who have made more money selling fake stories than probably anyone. Remember, they pushed the Skinwalker Ranch scam with no evidence, where they claimed they had all this evidence. Then when they got asked for the evidence, we don't got no evidence. You don't got no evidence? You wrote a whole book and you said you had all this evidence. Where's the evidence, George Knapp? Oh, we don't got none. We want to thank Dawn Richardson for a kind and generous 20 pounds. Big, fat donation to start off the show with. We thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support. We want to thank all you channel members as well, you Patreon supporters, you super chatters, PayPal donators, and super thanks people. Thank you all for your kindness, generosity, and support. Thank you very much, Dawn Richardson. What a big thing to do, and a big thank you from us.
Praise the cash, praise the cash, praise the cash. Thank you for your kindness. Thank you for your generosity. Praise the cash, praise the cash, praise the cash.
Thank you, everyone, for starting the broadcast off right. And now we've got Deb from SAC as well, who I have to thank for both being a member and for a kind and generous $5 super chat. It says lies to people who haven't heard the truth yet. Yeah, well, we thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support. Longtime show supporter, Deb from SAC. Thanks for helping us to start the show off right. And
Praise the cash, praise the cash, praise the cash.
Praise the cash, friends. Yeah, and for those unaware, our little cash clown, he did his first karate tournament over the weekend, and I was so proud of him. He won 2 bronze medals, and for a first tournament and first time competing, that's very, very good. And we are very, very proud of him. And thank you, Deb from SAC, for your kindness, generosity, and support. So At the top of the grifter food chain, we've got all these people making hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. And I just want to ask everyone within the sound of my voice, if it's a reasonable assumption to assume that if they're making hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars selling these fake stories, largely fake stories about aliens, non-human intelligences, and all kinds of stuff, isn't it reasonable to assume that they have a motive to lie? They have a motive to play fast and loose with the facts. They have a motive to lie by omission. We have talked about this before. In the case of Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp, they do a good job giving you half of the story. They give you the half of the story they want you to hear. The half of the story that, hey, this story may be true, and here's why. They purposefully, and I believe scummily, it's a scummy thing to do to, on purpose, be aware of all of the evidence that the story is fake and to just, do you think that Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp, like by accident, oh, sorry, we left out all that evidence that the story is 100% fake? Do you think they do that by accident? Or maybe, just maybe, because they're making hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars selling these stories, they have a profit-driven motive in which to lie by omission. They have a motive to lie by omission. They want to keep the money coming in. And we want to thank Ardent Paranormal for a kind and generous $5.50 super chat and for being a member and a chat room moderator. You guys are going to make it rain up in here. Praise the cash. That's right. You guys are making it rain up in here, and we appreciate that. And by the way, I want to thank everyone because I have been struggling with a older, workstation that is really not sufficient for video editing and production. I got a better system, but I needed some parts. We took it right out of the till, and we're going to have a monster to do video editing with, thanks to all of you kind and generous benefactors. So I want to thank each and every one of you, because I didn't even have to think about it. I'm like, I'm going to buy that expensive video card that I would never buy. I'm going to buy that extra memory. I'm going to buy those extra hard drives and slap them in this bitch, and we're going to be rolling on. And we will be using that workstation, by the way, to produce some free documentaries. So we want to thank each and every one of you. So back to the grift. These people all have a profit-driven motive to lie to you. I don't. Now, some people have accused us of running our own grift here. Oh, you're a grifter too, Stephen. It's just you're coming at it from the other side, of the skeptic side. Or yeah. Listen, if I wanted to run a grift, I would go balls deep on the aliens, bro. I would go balls deep in there, man. I'd have videos of aliens and shit. And remembering that I was a stage magician who performed many big illusions, including vanishing cars and appearing cars and motorcycles. And like, do you think I couldn't create some convincing fakes? Of course I could, but I'm not here to grift. So it is what it is. Back to the grifter squad. I just want to make sure, especially for people that are still on the fence, right? I want you, if you're on the fence of whether these people are liars and scammers and profiteering whores or not, like you may be undecided. And I get that. And that is an okay way to be. I was that way for a while. For the longest while, I thought somebody had to fact check all this. Nobody fact checks nothing. Nothing. They don't fact check anything. Linda Moan Hale can't even do a reverse image search to find out that the alien picture taken on the moon she's selling is from a goddamn video game. She can't even do that. Nobody checks anything. They just sell you lies about aliens. But if you're still on the fence, and that's who I'm speaking with today, I know many of our veterans here and our long-standing, chat room participants are well aware, right? They've already taken the second red pill here at Truthseekers. They're not still on the fence. But to those that are, really, I want you to seriously think about this. If somebody can make hundreds of thousands of dollars selling you a fake story, do you really think that no one would pull the trigger, right? Oh, all we have to do is leave out all the stuff that would seem to indicate that this story is not true. That's not even a lie, right? That's a lie by omission. It's like a white lie. No, I think it's a big lie, but I'm sure that these clowns somehow justify what they do to themselves. And it's coming crashing down all over some of these slobs, right? They're like pigs at the trough, and they never get enough of the UFO money, right? And they have been fattening themselves up with that UFO slop, and the UFO slop they feed everybody else for years now. But people are starting to wake up because, some of these UFO profiteering people like Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp are getting owned. They're getting owned by people who are tired of them making millions selling fake stories. They're getting owned by simple logic. And the simple logic, of course, is that if Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp truly believed that Bob Lazar was telling the truth, wouldn't they want Bob Lazar to do whatever he could to prove that the story is true, so that everyone would know that they're not lying, scumball, profiteering whores? That's what they've been doing for years, lying to everyone and sucking up every dollar of UFO and alien money they can. And their con, grift, or scam works by the lie by omission. Because we'll talk for a moment first about George Knapp. I believe a lot of things about George Knapp, but one thing I don't believe is that he is stupid. The same cannot be said for his bearded companion friend, but some people are just not very, they just don't have very much gray matter. You can't, slag them for that if they're, like a little mentally deficient. You gotta just, feel sorry for them, pray for them, pray God gives them a little more brains. But George Knapp is a very, very intelligent man. And another thing I'm sure about George Knapp is that George Knapp is a talented investigator. And for George Knapp to sit there and pretend that he didn't get to some of the same sources that we did is a complete and total lie. When that FBI raid happened, I got to everyone. I got to the local sheriff. I got to the FBI agents that were there. I talked to the hazmat guy. I got to everyone. And for George Knapp to sit there and pretend that he didn't talk to them, or he couldn't talk to them, or that there's some big lie cover up about flying saucer fuel is a complete and total fabrication designed to sell the story. They needed something to help sell that documentary. Oh, FBI raid must be about the flying saucers. No, it wasn't. And we proved that here. So how can George Knapp sit there and pretend that that FBI raid had anything to do with Bob Lazar's flying saucers stories? Well, he can do that by pretending that he's a piss poor investigator and he couldn't find the names and phone numbers of those FBI agents, who, by the way, we talked to and all said that Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp and anybody associated with Jeremy Corbell's film are complete and total liars, because that FBI raid had nothing to do with what they said it did. They lied. They lied to sell that garbage documentary. And I refuse to believe that someone as intelligent and as talented as an investigator as George Knapp couldn't call those FBI agents and find out what that raid was really about. He could have. He chose not to. It's the lie by omission. Oh, don't show me that evidence that says Bob Lazar's a liar and a convicted pimp and a fake scientist. And let's talk about George Knapp again. Signals Intelligence has gotten to all of Bob Lazar's former supervisors at Los Alamos. Again, George Knapp is a talented journalist and investigator. He could have got to those people. He probably did get to those people. And he left it out of the story that all of the people that were Bob Lazar's supervisors at Los Alamos all said that he was a bottom of the rung, low-level technician. He was never, ever a scientist, let alone a senior staff level physicist, right? What, George Knapp couldn't find those people and talk to them and get the same information? Of course he could. But George Knapp put the blinders on. Oh, we can't talk to those people. They're saying Bob Lazar's not a real scientist, and I'm an asshole who has been selling this fake story for 30 years. George Knapp, you know that you did the whole world dirty selling this fake story. You know that story is fake. You know Bob Lazar is a fake scientist. Jeremy Corbell, you know Bob Lazar is a fake scientist. You know he never stepped foot in Area 51. Let's talk about that for a second again. Again, George Knapp is a talented investigator. And Victor Caballero got to a verified real Area 51 security guard who worked there at the time Bob claimed to work on the alien flying saucers. Bob Lazar never flew in or out of Janet Airlines. And that Area 51 security guard even called George Knapp and said, this guy's a fraud. He never flew in or out of Area 51. And you better be careful selling his fake stories. Did George Knapp ever report that? To this day, George Knapp has withheld that from everyone that he sold his fake Bob Lazar lie to. Is it because he's not a good investigator and he couldn't get to that guy? That guy called him. That guy called him. And what about Corbell? Why did he leave all this out? It's the lie by omission. These UFO profiteers don't want to give you the full story. They want to give you the half that will help them make the money, not the half that will blow the story to crap. But it gets better because now there's a great deal of pressure mounting on Eric Weinstein talking with Bob Lazar. For those unaware, he's a real scientist, not a fake scientist convicted pimp like Bob Lazar. And Weinstein says, almost a month ago, I accepted Joe Rogan's invitation to a dinner and or a podcast with Bob Lazar. Yesterday on May 1st, I got a call from Joe. He's fully aware of my willingness to have a scientific interchange on Lazar's claims around gravity waves A and B. No gotchas, just science. While I do not know Lazar, I have a very congenial phone relationship and rapport with Jeremy Corbell, and we follow each other on Twitter. Thus, while it would be just Rogan, Lazar, and myself as per Joe's invitation, Jeremy can pass this invitation and earlier thread to Lazar. Thanks for all your interest in this matter. I stand willing to try my best to simply take these claims that fascinate so many with on their merits without interpersonal agenda. Joe and I are shoulder to shoulder on this, and the ball is no longer in my court. Thanks all. The one note I will reiterate is that I was in Cambridge, Massachusetts for about 20 years, close to the time Lazar cites being there. I have had close contact with both the mathematics and physics department at both Harvard and MIT. We should have many mutual colleagues in the four departments, right? Yeah. So essentially, here is a chance for Bob Lazar to talk to a real scientist and prove that his claims are not fake, and prove that he's a real scientist, just as Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp have claimed that he is. Why is George Knapp and Jeremy Corbell not jumping at this chance to get Bob Lazar on the record, on Joe Rogan, and have a real scientist talk to him about his educational claims, about his claims of being a scientist, and his claims about advanced alien technology? Listen, here's the deal. Bob Lazar has ducked any real scientists. He won't talk to Jeremy Rise, alien scientist who has a physics degree. He wouldn't talk to Stanton Friedman. Stanton Friedman arranged to meet with him 4 times. All 4 times, Lazar said sure he would do it, and then all 4 times he bailed. He no-showed. He made excuses and refused to meet with Stanton Friedman, a real nuclear physicist. Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp won't comment on this. Oh, they comment it with like a dick iceberg. George Knapp did, right? George Knapp, you are a pussy. You are a pussy, George Knapp. You've made millions of dollars selling this goddamn story, right? You've made millions of dollars too, Corbell, selling this story as true. You know it's fake. They both know the story is 100% fake, because if they truly believed the story was true, they'd be all over this. A chance for Bob Lazar to be vindicated and prove that he didn't lie about his education, and prove that he's a real scientist, and prove that he worked on alien technology and has advanced physics knowledge. Let's get all over this. Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp should be all over this. And the fact that they're not proves unequivocally that they know Bob Lazar is a fraud, that they know Bob Lazar cannot withstand the scrutiny of a real goddamn scientist. Bob Lazar is a convicted pimp, fraud, fake scientist. If he got forced to sit in a room and talk to a real scientist would know he was fake in 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Bob Lazar is such a fraud, he can't do 5 minutes in a room talking to a real scientist. And Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp are absolutely terrified, horrified that their entire scam is going to come crashing down if Bob Lazar does this. My prediction is Bob Lazar will never do this. Never. And Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp will make excuses for why this is. They will not address this elephant in the room. If they're so sure the story is true, why aren't they encouraging Bob Lazar to go on Joe Rogan? Why aren't they encouraging Joe Rogan to get a real scientist on with Lazar? All those naysayers could be proven wrong, George Knapp. All those naysayers and skeptics and critics can be 100% proven wrong, Jeremy Corbell. No, they can't have this happen. They know they can't have this happen, because if they have this happen, everyone will know that they scammed the public. George Knapp scammed the public for 30 years. Corbell, going on 10 soon, right? I think his shit documentary came out in 2016, didn't it? 7 years scamming the public with a completely and totally fake story. And by the way, Bob Lazar's story is provably fake. Provably fake. The evidence is overwhelming. He lied about his education. He lied about being a scientist at Los Alamos. He lied about flying in and out of Area 51. He lied about a lot of things. But this is where we're at, and this is where we find ourselves. And the UFO profiteers who have lied to you for years don't want you to hear what I'm saying right now, because simple logic proves that Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp know. They know that Bob Lazar is a fraud. They know he's a fake. They know he cannot withstand the scrutiny of real questions from a real scientist. If he could, he would have met with Stanton Friedman or Jeremy Reiser or any other real scientist. And by the way, there have been many that have offered to meet with him. Won't meet with any of them. He got invited to speak and do a presentation in front of a whole bunch of scientists. He ghosted them, refused to do it. There's a reason for that. And that is that the whole story would come crashing down. Now on to more of the wonderful lie fest that has been going on. So Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp, come on, man. These guys have been lying. And by the way, John from the Black Bolt says, you would think Bob Lazar would jump at this to finally prove himself on the grand stage of Joe Rogan with Eric Weinstein there eager to listen. Maybe Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp will encourage Lazar, given their belief in this story. If Lazar will not, then why not? And yeah, here, this is George Knapp's actual reply. Giant phallus-shaped iceberg floating in Conception Bay. In other related news, George Knapp says, Hey, George Knapp, why don't you stop being a pussy and actually address the fact that you got caught selling 100% fake story for 30 years, you liar, right? I've been listening to you lie to me since I was a child, you scamming liar, right? How many millions, how much money have you made selling the Bob Lazar lie? Why don't you give the money to charity? Give the money back, you asshole, right? Is it just okay? You're just okay, right? What a legacy you've left. Your children and your wife must be proud of you. What does dad do? He sells fake stories on the internet. He sells fake stories about convicted pimp liars that aren't real scientists that worked on alien spaceships. Great, George Knapp. You should be proud of yourself. And same for Corbell. Corbell at least has an excuse because Corbell is a slob, rich trust fund asshole that's never had a real job in his life. He works for his daddy, right? When he's not selling UFO garbage lies, he works for daddy, right? And let's just look at Jeremy Corbell's resume, right? Oh, I'm a yoga instructor. That was one job. Oh, I'm a visual artist. He made terrible art. That was another job that he claimed he had. Oh, I'm an MMA fighter. No, he wasn't. Where's his record? He's never fought in the MMA. Oh, I'm an MMA instructor. I teach quantum jujitsu, a form of jujitsu I made up, right? Yeah. Corbell presents himself as the quintessential rich kid slob trust fund with rich parents that never had to have a real job or work somewhere for a living, right? And that sense of entitlement is what he thinks enables him to make millions of dollars selling garbage fake stories about alien spaceships, right? But it gets, and this is the level. George Knapp just, he tweets a picture of a cock, well, an iceberg cock, but still, it's kind of nonsensical. Why don't you address the elephant in the room? And next we have Sean Cahill, who is the ass licker of Lou Elizondo, right? I don't know if you're aware, but, those two probably butt bumping each other. I don't know. It's just what I heard. They could be. I don't know. It's just rumors. But Sean Cahill has been helping Lou Elizondo sell his lies. And just a quick recap, Lou Elizondo lied to the New York Times. Lou Elizondo lied about running a Pentagon program that never really existed, later admitting it was an activity. Lou Elizondo lied to everybody as a part of TTSA, promising investors that they would build a spaceship. No spaceship. Lou Elizondo lied about the Felon Five. No, those people that he mentioned that were felons, most of them weren't felons. And by the way, I was mentioned in that message exchange, and I'm not a felon, right? Lou Elizondo has been caught lying time and time again. And his whole plan was to get rich. And by the way, he's had many get-rich-quick schemes, none of which worked. You should be aware of that. The UFO scam was just the latest of a get-rich-quick thing for Lou Elizondo, in my opinion. He thought he'd come out, tell a bunch of lies about what he did at the Pentagon. Nobody would know. Nobody would find out. And then he'd make millions selling a book and getting TV show deals. And while he did get the TV show deals, which, by the way, that television show was garbage, nothing new, right? It's just a money grab. But Sean Cahill is the designated Lou Elizondo butt licker. I'm pretty sure they're butt banging. I don't know. They could be butt banging. You never know with these guys. They hang out a lot. They go camping together. Maybe there's some butt banging going on. But in any case, Lou Elizondo is part of the CIA infiltration of ufology. For that reason alone, no one should ever buy anything from him or trust him. After all, what do counterintelligence officers do? They lie to people, But Sean Cahill is spreading 100% completely and totally fake information, saying he is looking forward to most in the next few months is Lou Elizondo's book. He is hoping it comes out this summer and is assuming it's going to be a bombshell. Yeah, I predict nothing, Burger, because if the book's coming out this summer, that would mean that it's already at the publishers, which means if there was anything incredible in it, it would have already leaked. No leaks of incredible, earth-shattering, non-human intelligences, right? Or proof of that from Lou Elizondo. But this is nothing new. We don't get proof from Lou Elizondo. We get carrots on a stick. Chase that carrot, bitch! Chase that carrot! Oh, there's a 23-minute video. Chase that carrot, bitch! You never get any real evidence from him, other than those videos that he allegedly stole from the Pentagon, according to some, which, by the way, have been largely debunked as nothing burgers. So what has this guy done to earn his millions of dollars in so-called UFO land? Not much, right? But now we have Sean Cahill, who is essentially telling people that because the book has to undergo a check by the government, everything in it is free. And by the way, Unveiling the Universe is another CIA psyop, I think, because they came out of nowhere, right? Brand new show. And suddenly all of the big CIA UFO guys are on this guy's show, who look straight out of, like, I don't know, central casting for, like, if I had to cast an asshole of a show host, it would be this guy. Look at this guy's ridiculous mustache and big ass bald head. This is a CIA psyop if I've ever seen one. And we know that because this guy went from absolutely nowhere to suddenly he's got every UFO celebrity on his show. That doesn't happen for no reason, friends. It's part of the CIA psyop, I think. And this guy looks straight out of central casting for, if you wanted an idiot, a show host that looked ridiculous. Like, how could you get more ridiculous than this guy? I don't know. But let's get into what Sean Cahill has said. And by the way, we haven't had any issues with this clown yet, but we might. This is transformative work, and we're educating the public using these clips. We're critiquing the video we are sharing. This is covered under fair use and is allowable by law. Also, it should be noted that every false copyright claim or strike levied against our channel, 100% of them in the history of our channel, some going on 3 years now, we have won. So if you want to falsely copyright strike me, go ahead. We have lawyer letters standing by, and the strike will revert to your channel. I'm sure the CIA can help you get rid of that, but, still, you should be aware. All right. Let's get into what Sean Cahill is lying to the public about now. And by the way, it was this same clown that Sean Cahill released that fake UFO video where Sean Cahill went on this clown's show and lied about a UFO video that him and Lou Elizondo took in Lou Elizondo's backyard. This was the conduit for the release of that video. Another indicator that this clown is part of the CIA UFO threat psyop, an infiltration of the UFO community that has been going on for several years now, since 2016, right? But let's hear Sean Cahill completely and totally lie and get facts completely and totally wrong while he's trying to lick Lou Elizondo's butthole and help him sell some books.
What do you expect to unfold over the next, say, 6 months to 12 months, over the next year, in regards to transparency, disclosure, hearings, all of this kind of thing?
Well, I think that something I'm really looking forward to is Lou's book.
Yeah, you can lick his butthole while you're reading it.
I've not seen it. No advanced reads on it. Really looking forward to reading it.
Do you know when we're supposed to get, when it's supposed to drop?
This summer. I'm hoping that I believe the hope is this summer.
It depends on when the CIA tells them to drop it.
Because we know how these things are written when it's folks coming out of the government. Okay, this is not a fictional tell-all where names are changed and it's a cool story and you can cherry pick it and take what resonates. This will be something that has had to pass the checks and balances, with the DOD, and that it's capable of being published.
This is completely and totally a lie. He is implying that since the DOD has to review the book, that everything in the book will be 100% factual because the DOD will fact check it all. No, I don't think so. That's not how this works. Sean Cahill is an idiot. This guy is dumber than Jeremy Corbell. I swear to God, this is like the dumbest UFO guy on the scene. Sean Cahill is an idiot. He is a dummy. I really think that maybe, who knows, man? He was in the Navy for a while. Maybe he breathed some fumes in on one of those ships and it gave him brain damage, because this is not how this works. This is not how any of this works. The DOD, if a former DOD employee is releasing a book, they will review the book for classification purposes and make sure that there is no classified information being released in the book. That's all they do. They don't care if Lou Elizondo lies his ass off through the rest of the book. They're not going to fact check anything. And here Sean Cahill is essentially saying that this book is going to be fact checked by the Department of Defense, so everything in it is going to be 100% true. I beg to differ. And isn't it interesting that this is the CIA PSYOP channel? Great.
And if I know Lou, he's going to say every dang thing he can legally within that book. So I really look forward to that.
And by the way, anybody who thinks Lou Elizondo's got anything left of value as far as information, you're in for the big letdown. We know how this works. You get the big buildup, right? The overhype, and then you get the underdeliver. And this book has been hyped out the wazoo. There was a bidding war for it, right? At least that's what we were told. And then when revelations that Lou Elizondo lied to the New York Times multiple times, he was, after all, the primary source of that story. And then we find out Lou Elizondo never ran a Pentagon UFO program. He made it up. It was a UFO program in his imagination, and he was the director of it. It had no funding. It wasn't an official Pentagon program. He made that all up. He lied to everyone for years. Once that information came out, suddenly the book's published date keeps getting pushed back. They're hoping all of the UFO dorks forget that Lou Elizondo got caught lying multiple times. By the way, he lied about the Felon 5 too. He lied about TTSA building a spaceship while they were soliciting investor money, right? I'm pretty sure that he lied about having superpowers, right? He's a remote viewer psychic too. The guy lies constantly, like a good CIA agent does, of course. But here we have Sean Cahill just completely and totally getting it wrong. And maybe it's just that he's an idiot and this is his interpretation, but I think that this is intentionally put out to assure people that big revelations are coming. You ever notice that? Big revelations are always coming.
I'm making an assumption here that it's going to be
oh yeah, I got an assumption for you.
I'm making an, and I may be wrong. People can cool. When I'm wrong later, let me know. But I have a feeling that the repercussions from his
it does feel harmonica.
I think that they're going to probably shake up a lot of trees and have a lot of people come out of the woodwork that might not have before, because let's be frank,
you are correct. Humans awaken wolf.
To volunteer, but once you see somebody else doing it, it gets easier to get in line behind.
Bob's going to get another.
I think that's going to really shake things up.
Oh yeah,
especially
big things coming.
It got signed off as well, right?
Buckle up.
Mm-hmm. You don't have to worry about whether or not there's nonsense in there. If it's not opinion, it's going to be fact.
This is completely and totally wrong. Both the show host and Sean Cahill are pushing that there's not going to be any nonsense in the book. It'll all be facts because the DOD is checking the book. No, the DOD will check it for classified information and material, and then they will clear it to be published. That's it. They have no other responsibility. They don't care. People can lie all they want in books. As long as there's no classified information in it, the DOD will not give a crap. And so here we have Handlebar Mustache Clown and Sean Cahill both lying to the public, telling them that there can't be anything fake in the book. There can't be nonsense in the book because the DOD is checking it. This is completely and totally false information. And by the way, why isn't Lou Elizondo coming out and correcting what is being said on his book's behalf? Is it perhaps that he wants that lie out there, and so does the rest of the CIA infiltration of ufology gang, right?
Beyond that, you're going to get to know somebody that's really important to me that I think, you know, we all hesitate to use words like this, but at this point, it's pretty obvious. Lou's an American hero. Him and Chris and others like them.
He's an American hero that lied to the New York Times, that lied about the Felon Five, that lied about having superpowers, that saved his whole unit in Iraq. You clown, right? Boy, is this guy a fluffer. What a fluffer.
They did something that no
American
one
hero.
They made sure that this subject, once they peeled it out of the Pentagon, and once they started talking to the rest of us about it, they haven't given up. They haven't gone anywhere. They haven't compromised their ethics.
They haven't compromised their ethics. They essentially stole UFO videos. Allegedly, let's just say allegedly, stole UFO videos out of the Pentagon that were never meant for public release. And then they both profited from them, those videos that were taxpayer funded and owned for years. And you're saying they didn't compromise their ethics to do so? Is it a compromise of ethics to tell people while you're soliciting investor donations, investment from the public, that you're going to build a spaceship with a revolutionary power source that will change the world? Is that a violation? Is that a compromised ethics? I would think so. Most people would say, yeah, if you lied through your teeth to get people to invest in your scam company, yeah, that's a problem with ethics. And they were both heavily involved with that. And here's Sean Cahill is doing their fluffing, saying they haven't compromised their ethics. Well, that, my friend, Mr. Cahill, is a matter of opinion. Did you compromise your ethics putting out a fake UFO video filmed in Lou Elizondo's backyard? I mean, these are the people that the true believers are believing. People who lie constantly to everyone, right?
So those folks are heroes to me. So I really think that
those are your heroes. I told you, it's a butt banger thing. It's got to be a butt banger thing.
This is historical. I think what we're looking at and what we're going to see is going to really help things. Now, why does that have to come out in a person's book? Well, because the government's still not telling us what the hell's going on. Let's be real.
Yeah, and by the way, it's been what, 7 years, going on 8 years since Lou Elizondo came out, right? If he had any actionable intelligence, any real evidence, don't you think he would have dropped it by now? He had real evidence. He didn't drop any of it on the television show. He didn't drop any of it on those hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of friendly podcast appearances that he did. Come on. Really? Really? Yeah. American hero. Phil Harmonica says he's an American hero, right? That would be a bad porn. Yeah, those guys butt banging would be a bad thing. I don't want to see that, right? So the CIA manipulation of the UFO community continues, and they're willing to put out 100% provably fake, 100% fake information to manipulate people into believing that, one, Lou Elizondo has any kind of real and important information to still drop, and two, that there will be no nonsense, lies, or false information in his book because the DOD is going to check it. No, again, just to be clear, the DOD will check it to make sure it doesn't contain any classified information, and then they will clear it for publish. That's all they will do. So for Sean Cahill and this handlebar mustache CIA clown or whoever to push this false narrative, and for Lou Elizondo to not immediately at least tweet and correct the record here, shows that Lou Elizondo is a profit-driven UFO whore, like we've been saying, and probably CIA participant. I think that some of these people, they get the green light. Like, yeah, put out a book. Whatever you make from it, you can keep, as long as you put our narratives in it, the UFO threat narrative, so we get more funding, right?
At this point, it is condescending. They jump to, oh, no aliens here, and we're back to the stigmatized headlines. And the answer from Senator.
Yeah, and by the way, Lou Elizondo was interviewed, according to him, by Arrow. And they recently came out and said no evidence of non-human intelligence behind these UFO sightings, no evidence of aliens. And Sean Cahill and Lou Elizondo and the whole alien grifter squad are real butthurt because that makes them look like liars. Do you know why? Because they are liars. And if Lou Elizondo had any real evidence or proof of non-human intelligence or aliens, he would have given it to them, right? So essentially, the latest UFO hearing merely confirms that Lou Elizondo's got nothing. He's got no real intelligence. He's got no real evidence. He's got no real information. He's got stories, right? The same stories that everybody else in the UFO field has, the same stories all of us have heard many, many, many times. He's got nothing. And Sean Cahill and Lou Elizondo are in panic mode because the hits keep coming. And you may remember a few months ago, I told you that the evidence that Lou Elizondo is a grifter would be mounting in the coming months. I said that. I'm going to pull the clip. I said it multiple times 3 or 4 months ago. Friends, more is coming. More damaging information is going to come out. And I think the next few hits are going to really shock people. I think the next few hits, it's going to be so bad that even the true believer Lou Elizondo buttlicker crowd are going to have to take a step back and say, maybe we were lied to. Yeah, maybe.
Senator Gillibrand, others should be great. Tell us where they are. Don't tell us where they aren't. Take us to the interesting information and let's get to the bottom of it. And stop with the nonsense.
This guy's saying stop with the nonsense.
We don't have time for it.
Yeah,
What do you expect?
we don't have time for it. You're right. I don't have time to listen to you, Sean Cahill. You've never done anything for this thing. Never. Right? All right. So next, of course, we can venture into the Ross Coulthart latest garbage that he's been pushing, which is essentially that all kinds of people are testifying about those alien crash retrievals, right? All right. And before we move on, however, I just want to share this from John from the Black Vault, who I completely agree with. Department of Defense Publication and Security Review, Case 20-SB-0058, May 11th, 2021, cleared for public release. Yes, so here's what Cahill said. This will be something that has to pass the checks and balances with the DOD, and that it's capable of being published. You don't have to worry about if there is nonsense in there. If it's not opinion, it's going to be fact. And John echoes my own belief and sentiment that we have expressed here. Just so people are aware, the DOD does not have any check and balance for accuracy. That is a false impression. You absolutely can worry if material is not fact in that book, given the history of past claims made by the book's author and those around him. DOPSR, which has to review Elizondo's book, does not check for accuracy, nor does it endorse that they approve what they approve for release. They simply ensure no classified information or national security risk is posed by what is published. That's it. In November of 2021, I received a statement from the Pentagon on this very issue. The public release clearance of this publication by the Department of Defense does not imply Department of Defense endorsement or factual accuracy of the material. John goes on to say, so don't let anyone tell you or give you the impression of anything but that. These types of false assurances are what make me wonder what is really going on and why they keep happening. As proof of what I said, here is the DOPSR disclaimer published in Skinwalkers at the Pentagon. They do not endorse anything as factual. Simply, they review for classification and national security risk. It can be a work of pure fiction, and the disclaimer and sign-off will remain the same. So there we have Sean Cahill, a longtime Lou Elizondo cheerleader, right? Some would say right-hand man. Some would say butt banging partner and reach around guy, right? I don't know. I hear a lot of stuff. Sean Cahill, longtime Lou Elizondo fluffer, is putting out 100% provably fake information, assuring everyone that there will only be facts in that book. Garbage, false narrative. And let's get back to the CIA infiltration of ufology. What is it that a CIA PSYOP consists of? Well, it's a psychological operation designed to manipulate the public. Is Sean Cahill and Lou Elizondo doing this designed to manipulate the public? Sure looks like it. Sure looks like something a CIA PSYOP would do. Interestingly, no word from Mr. Elizondo correcting the record. Isn't that interesting? I think that is definitely interesting. Now, we can move on now to Mr. Ross Coulthart, who is pushing the whole narrative of the aliens. And again, Ross Coulthart has lied to everyone for literally years now. Ross Coulthart has sold provably fake stories, right? Provably fake stories at least twice now, 2 huge ones. The first story was the story he got, let's just say, shit canned from 60 Minutes Australia for. A piece that Media Watch called incredibly deceptive and misleading. And in that story, Ross Coulthart used terrible fake sources, and he essentially accused the entire British government of being run by child predators, right? That story was completely and totally 100% fake. Next, we get Ross Coulthart's big bluff. You remember the ball shavings, right? You remember that story, the story about Ross Coulthart, or excuse me, Jim's balls, right? Jim's balls, where they told us they had 100%. They told us they had conclusive proof of alien technology, which was all confirmed by this man. Cut to a shot of Michio Kaku. Michio Kaku didn't confirm shit. They had no evidence, right? And him and Gary Nolan pushed that story. And Gary Nolan weaseled out of doing the analysis that he promised, which, by the way, takes 20 minutes. We've waited over a year now for an analysis that takes 20 minutes. Why won't they tell us what the ball shavings were, right? Jim's balls. Why won't they tell us what happened to Jim's balls, right? And of course, when he asked Gary Nolan about it, he gets pissed.
They come to me with some of their results, and I basically said, these results are shit. So I'm sorry to the people who are so friggin' impatient that they won't get off their butt and go learn this stuff and do it themselves. I'm not your daddy. I'm not here to do things for you. I'm sorry. Get out of your basement and go do something. I've seen some of those snap your fingers reports, and they're garbage. Publish the darn paper. Stop claiming that. This is shoddy work. This can't go anywhere. Who did this? It's crap.
Yeah. Well, he's upset with people like me asking for evidence. And of course, Ross Coulthart scraped the Jim's balls, and we were supposed to get the analysis. Gary Nolan even appeared in that documentary piece at Stanford University in front of the very machine that he could do that analysis on in 20 minutes. Right?
I got scrapings off Jim's balls. 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 I got scrapings off Jim's balls.
Yeah. So Ross Coulthart has been caught selling 100% provably fake stories several times now. But that doesn't stop the big bluff, because Coulthart is back making the rounds, making absolutely fantastical claims. Claiming that he knows U.S. Congress has been briefed in extreme detail about non-human crash retrieval programs, including program names, code names, key officials, and locations. And I just want to say that some of these classified programs, even the name of the program is classified. So for Ross Coulthart to basically say that people are violating the Espionage Act to give him this false information, he would be in prison. And so would anybody leaking him classified information. But this is the game that some of these UFO profiteering clowns play. And we're all just supposed to forget about the legalities. Listen, you can't, if you know about classified projects, just start going blabbing to disgraced Australian journalists. But that's what happened here.
I think this is the key issue, Bryce. The key issue now is what's going to happen next. Are the public going to be told what, frankly, I know? I know the Congress knows. I know senior congressmen and senators have been briefed in very extreme detail.
Yes, and he also knew that Jim's balls was alien and promised everybody that that was conclusive proof of alien technology. And he also knew that the entire British government was being run by child predators. And that story was completely and totally wrong. And he knew both of those things, right? So we're all just supposed to forget that Mr. Coulthart has a problem with being a profiteer who sells 100% fake stories for profit and has been caught selling provably fake stories several times now.
Right down to program names, code names.
Program names and code names, if they're part of a classified project, would, by definition, be classified information. Therefore, anyone leaking any information like that to him would be in violation of the Espionage Act and would instantly be arrested, prosecuted, thrown in jail, lose their pension. But we're all supposed to believe that a guy who got huge, fantastical stories completely and totally wrong, at least twice now, has people willing to be prosecuted, willing to go to jail to leak him information. Sure, Ross Coulthart, you clown.
Key officials, locations of storage of material. I know this information has and is being given to Congress by loyal, patriotic Americans who've decided it's time this story be told.
And, you know, I can't wait to hear who these whistleblowers are, because I have a feeling they're going to be people like Bob Lazar and David Adair, right? Clowns, or Stephen Greer, clowns that aren't credible. And maybe the government would listen, but then the government would go, this is all fake information.
And what the Mail's revealed this morning, that there are 6 whistleblowers who've claimed that they worked on military UFO programs, retrieving and analyzing crash material from non-human technology. I'm told that's true. Now,
he's told that's true. Who told you that? Oh, I can't tell you. It's a secret. They're my anonymous sources. This guy used anonymous sources in his British Parliament story about the child predators, right? He used anonymous sources in that, and he was completely and totally 100% wrong. So pardon me, right? If I don't accept, trust me, dude, anonymous sources from a clown. And let's be clear, Ross Coulthart is a disgraced journalist clown, right? He couldn't get a real job, so he decided to go sell stupid fake stories to vulnerable believer-brained people that want to believe in the aliens are visiting Earth. And directly after getting tossed out on his ass from 60 Minutes Australia for a completely fake story, he jumped headlong into the UFO community, selling books and documentaries and all manner of nonsense, right? Sorry, but let's get back to the UFO profiteers talk that we were talking about in the beginning of the broadcast. Does he not have a vested interest in selling alien stories? Does he not have a profit-driven motive to sell the alien hypothesis instead of more prosaic explanations for some of these things? Of course he does.
No, I haven't seen these craft. I haven't seen these objects, but I'm told these whistleblowers are coming forward. They're testifying under oath They're people who are prepared to.
Yeah, and by the way, this whole trope is very convenient because all Ross Coulthart has to say is, oh, they testified in closed door sessions, classified sessions of Congress, so nobody can know about it. So basically, it gives him an out for just lying through his teeth here. Name names, bro. Name some names. Who are the people that know exactly where the crash retrievals are? Who are the people that know the code names? Who are the people? Name them. It's time, as John from the Black Vault said, it's time to put up or shut up. You've got the United States government saying no evidence of alien technology. If you drop that now, you would be a multimillionaire. You would have the story of a lifetime. But he's not dropping it. This UFO profiteer is turning down $1 million or $10 million or $100 million story of a lifetime so that he could protect his sources. We're all supposed to believe that? No, friends, simple logic. Logic would indicate that a UFO profiteering whore like him would drop anything that would make them tens or hundreds of millions of dollars immediately. And the fact that he's not means it's all another bluff. You know, you ever play poker, right? And you might get beat by a really good bluffer, right? You might lose a really big hand. I know I have playing poker. But after a while, you start seeing the tells of the bluff. Ross Coulthart's tells are anonymous sources, which he used extensively throughout his book that made many fantastical claims and proved none of them. We see his tells. Anonymous sources is one of his tells. These are all anonymous sources. So trust me, dude. There's people talking about aliens and crash retrievals and non-human technology. Trust me, dude. This man has been caught in a huge bluff once before. And that bluff came crashing down in spectacular fashion. Largely, some would say, due to our coverage of that huge bluff. To this day, Michio Kaku hasn't confirmed alien technology like he claimed in all of his promo material for that clickbait garbage fake story he was selling before this one. But hey, if you want to believe this clown, be my guest, right? Be my guest.
Put their lives on the line by basically coming forward to Congress. And lawyer Danny Sheehan said he's in contact with them.
Yeah, Danny Sheehan, great. Stephen Greer's lawyer, another wackadoo. This is the wackadoo super duper prover maneuver. Use one wackadoo to reinforce the claims of another wackadoo.
He's assisting them and representing them before the Congress. They're claiming they've worked on Roswell-style UFO crash retrieval and reverse engineering programs.
Yeah, and notice he says they're claiming. Are they proving it or are they just claiming it? Because people could claim anything, Ross Coulthart. Kind of like how you claimed that you had conclusive proof of alien technology when you had nothing. You know, claims are claims. Proof is proof. I don't want any more claims, Ross Coulthart. I want proof. I want evidence. I want on-the-record sources and names that anybody can call and interview about their claims. Fact-check their claims. Have you fact-checked any of these things? Of course not.
And I know, because I've spoken to people on the inside.
Oh, sure.
There are people who have come forward to...
Because people on the inside always talk to disgraced Australian journalists who essentially get fired for selling 100% fake stories about pedo rings in the British government, right? Sure. You got inside sources.
Congress who have testified with this information. They've given very specific detail. Now, the big question is whether the United States government, the United States military decides to do the honorable thing and finally fess up about what...
Oh, yeah, the big cover-up, sure. And by the way, you know, I think it would be well within the purview of our show here that I could call the Pentagon and play this clip for them, and I want some kind of official comment. Is Ross Coulthart just lying here? And I know what's going to happen, even if I get told that Ross Coulthart is 100% wrong and nobody has testified before Congress about these issues or these so-called classified projects, then we'll hear, oh, well, they're lying. It's a cover-up, right? He has an out for everything he's lying about here. And one thing you know about liars and manipulators, they give themselves outs, right? First out is, well, they're testifying before closed door classified sessions of Congress. Really? Okay, so you're telling us this, but you know about it, but nobody else knows about it. Nobody else is allowed to talk about it. Boy, that's convenient. The second out is, if I get official comment from the Pentagon or from Congress, what are we going to hear? They're lying. I have the people that told me this. Well, great. Give me their names. So we are going to go balls to the wall on Ross Coulthart. Ross Coulthart and I, listen, Mr. Coulthart, you and I are going to be best friends. And if you keep running your goddamn mouth like this, you're going to regret it. Because every time you run your mouth lying through your teeth, I'm gonna start making phone calls, and we're gonna fact check everything that you're saying to the best of our ability. I'm gonna be on you like white on rice, bro. I'm gonna be on you every day. Every day you're out there lying to people, I'll be out there bringing people the truth about the lies that you're telling. And by the way, we're still trying to get on the record confirmation from Michio Kaku about being used and manipulated in a story. You used him to sell a completely and totally fake story about aliens with deceptive editing, right? We're going to follow up on that too. I'm going to call New York University or wherever. I'm getting Michio Kaku on the phone. He needs to know that you used him. Remember that? Conclusive proof of alien technology, all confirmed by this man. Cut to a shot of Michio Kaku. That was deceptive. That was slimy. That's something a slime ball, bottom-feeding grifter would do to sell a story. You're not a journalist. You're a joke. And now I will get to be the other side for you, Mr. Coulthart. So congratulations. You have now become one of my projects.
They know. We are, I think, my friend, at a very important moment in history.
Yep, we're always at an important moment in history, and disclosure's coming any minute.
This is a very key time.
Oh, sure it is. Key time for grifters. So, friends, what can I tell you? What I can tell you is that the grift goes on, and these people are not going to stop pushing provably lies, right? One second. Let me just pull up. I think I had something else to share. No, I think that will do it for tonight's presentation. But we can talk in general terms about UFO profiteers and the big lie. What is the big lie? The big lie is that there is verifiable proof and evidence that non-human intelligences or aliens are visiting Earth, perhaps surveilling us. Some of their advanced aerial spaceship, after traveling millions of light years or millions of miles, hundreds of light years from other star systems, come here, come to Earth, and crash. And then we retrieve them and some of the alien bodies, and on and on and on the lie goes. And a big part of the big lie is that these UFO profiteers pretend that they have the smoking gun evidence. And isn't it funny, out of hundreds of these clowns that have made hundreds of millions of dollars, that not a one of them has had the smoking gun evidence? Not a one of them has had the conclusive proof. Even people like Ross Coulthart, who bluffed and said he did have the conclusive proof. He had nothing. He had nothing. So the big lie, my friends, is that they're on the inside track and they've got insider information. And if you just give them money, they'll share some of that inside information with you. This is the big lie of the UFO profiteers. And many of these people have lied to you for years and years and years for profit. And I, for one, say no more. And let me be very clear. If someone had the smoking gun evidence or proof of non-human intelligence interacting here on Earth, visiting Earth, if they had smoking gun evidence of non-human crash retrievals of alien technology, alien metals, alien bodies. Great. I would not begrudge them a penny. They could make hundreds of millions of dollars. Wouldn't bother me because they have the proof. They have the evidence. But that's not what we get. What we get is people pretending to have the evidence, pretending that this so-called disclosure is just around the corner, and we get nothing. Just another carrot on the stick to keep people chasing the big lie. But the big lie changes from time to time, but the lie remains the same. These UFO profiteers pretend that they have some sort of secret information or secret knowledge to share. And if you just get behind their paywall or buy their book or their latest documentary or whatever the crap they're selling, you too will be on the inside of the most amazing discovery in human history. It's a big lie, friends. It's a big lie. And while I have had my own personal experiences that were mysterious and unexplainable, for a time I thought that what I experienced was some sort of alien spacecraft. They prey on people who have had strange and mysterious experiences that they can't explain. Many of us are here because we've had strange and mysterious experiences we can't explain. There is no one that can give you the truth. You must find the truth yourself. But this becomes incredibly difficult when we realize that there are UFO profiteers out there who are willing to lie, cheat, steal, manipulate, lie by omission, pretend, and live action role play, that they have that secret knowledge or information that so many people are out here getting involved with this, seeking. And I got to tell you that it has been a long, hard journey, an arduous journey. I've always liked that, arduous journey, to try to get to the truth of my own experience. But I'm not getting to the truth of my own experience by just believing delusional lies put out there by profiteers. So before you buy into any of this, ask yourself what the angle here is. Is it come and see me at this big UFO conference where I'm going to get paid $10,000 to give a talk? Is it buy my latest documentary where I'm going to make millions, if not tens of millions or hundreds of millions of dollars selling the lie? Is it buy my new book, which is sure to have bombshells and there can't be anything fake in there because the DOD has to approve it? Lies, scammers, grifters, profiteering whores. That's all that we have here. And while I still hold on to the hope that, yes, there are a few people like me or others that are not willing to accept the lie, that are fact-checking these liars, scammers, grifters, and thieves. And let's be very clear. I'm not a law enforcement officer. I'm not a lawyer, but I'm entitled to my opinion. And in my opinion, if you are lying to people, claiming that you're telling people true stories for money, and then it turns out that those stories that you're selling are provably false, then you're a thief and you've stolen money from people through deception. It's a concept in American law, at least. I'm not very familiar with other countries' laws, but in the United States, it's a concept called theft by deception. And theft by deception can take many forms, but selling provably fake stories, pretending, for example, to be the director of a $22 million UFO program that never actually existed when you claim that you ran it, that's deception. And Sean Cahill and any of these other fluffers, they all got fluffers. The UFO circle jerkers, the fluffers that come along and lick the buttholes of these UFO celebrities. Why are scammers and grifters and con artists and liars put on a pedestal? You don't belong on a pedestal. According to many, some of these people probably belong in a jail cell for some of the things that they have done. And that's not just my opinion. That's opinion that is echoed and discussed by many in the so-called UFO community. If you're selling provably fake stories for money, it's theft by deception. Unfortunately, it's a gray area. And I'm sure that people in law enforcement have better things to do than to run around and stomp all over, play UFO grifter whack-a-mole like we talked about before. They don't have time to do that. There's real crime taking place. There's murderers. There's, all kinds of bad things going on in the world. And unfortunately, until the laws improve, this will continue. The big lie is going to continue and continue and continue because these people can make tens of millions of dollars selling the lie. There's no profit in telling people the truth. Well, there can be, and thank God we've got supporters all over the world who are tired of the big lie, who want to see people take on these grifters, fact check them, and peel back these layers of deception. We've talked about this many times here. The big lie works because there are layers of deception on top of deception on top of deception. These people are good, some of them, at what they do. They carefully craft the illusion that they have the truth about non-human intelligences, alien crash retrievals, and back engineering alien flying saucer programs. And they've all carefully crafted an illusion for you. But I know a thing or two about illusions. And one thing that I know for certain is that when you truly know how an illusion works, it loses all of its magic, loses all of its appeal. An illusion is usually a very simple concept that works to fool the human mind and psyche into believing something, that you're seeing something that's really not there. As a stage magician, I could show people things that were not there. I showed people ghosts and a dragon, a Bigfoot. I showed people all kinds of things that weren't really there, but they believed they were there. I also was able to vanish things that were right there in front of their faces, but they just couldn't see it because I was able to manipulate their senses, their perceptions, and their psyche to believe the lie. These people, these UFO grifters, are no different than a stage magician. They're showing you something that's really not there. And not a one of these people has any secret insider knowledge, but they can pretend. And so this is where we are at, friends, and this is where we find ourselves. We find ourselves in the center of a great deal of UFO profiteers who are selling and telling the big lie, selling it especially. But this does not change the fact that it's still a lie. And I know that many of you desperately want to believe the big lie, but I would caution you that believing the lie would simply make you someone with blinders on, someone who is delusional, desperate to believe enough to forgive all of these lies. How do you forgive these UFO profiteers for their constant lying to you? I get wanting to believe what they're selling, but in order to do that, you have to forgive them for lying to you constantly for years, right? Or just being wrong about everything that they've pushed for years and years and years. This does not sit well with me or many people. You cannot find the truth in a lie. That's it. You can't find the truth in a lie. So if you're really interested in the truth, please, please only go to trusted researchers, people who fact check things like claims being made, people who investigate people's background to find out if they're really telling the truth about their military service or their credentials or where they said they worked. Do not go blindly into this. And by all means, please, please fact check everyone. Don't blindly trust any of these people are telling you the truth, right? You must fact check everyone. You must verify everything any of these people say. You cannot blindly believe any of them because they all have the profit-driven motive. They're making hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions, some of them tens of millions of dollars. It would be fair to say that Dr. Stephen Greer has made tens of millions of dollars. What has he proven? So far, he's proven that he's an idiot who thinks moths are interdimensional beings, or who thinks a cactus is an alien in the desert, right? Or thinks he has superpowers and he can summon alien spaceships at will. Great. Go to the White House, Stephen Greer, run a CE5 event and vector those bitches right onto the White House lawn. He can't and he won't because he is selling a lie. And what about channels like Third Phase of Moon and Grifters? They've been caught lying to you. They've been caught claiming they don't post fake videos. We had the screenshots of messages from people who made the fake videos for them. And them acknowledging the videos were fake. They post them anyway and pretend it's spaceships and aliens because they're assholes. And Third Phase and Grifters and anybody else being here with their hand out saying, pay me to lie to you, is all that is wrong with this entire thing. The fact that Third Phase of Moon have been caught selling 100% provably fake videos over and over and over again, or that the people that work for them, like Grifters, have been caught knowingly lying to help them cover up their scams and are still there with their hands out going, pay me, I'm a UFO expert. That is everything wrong with this whole thing. Grifters got caught lying through his teeth for Third Phase of fake. Oh, they never hoaxed anything. There's no evidence of it. And he's still there doing the super chat shuffle, begging for UFO dollars every day, pretending that he's some kind of expert or that his expert commentary and opinion matter. You're a scammer and a liar who did terrible, disgusting, despicable things in defense of fraud of Third Phase of Moon. How dare you stand there with your hand out? I will say no more. And we will conclude our broadcast right there, or we will conclude our presentation for tonight there. And I will be taking comments and questions for the remainder of the broadcast. But before we do that, I'm going to run over to the Rumble chat and the Twitch chat and thank everyone for coming. I want to thank each and every one of you for being here, especially while we are testing this new streaming setup. Seems like everything's working. Looks okay. Let me know if it sounds okay. We do have to take a quick short break before we take viewer comments and questions. And by the way, viewer comments and questions, put them in all capital letters. That lets me know that you want us to share those things, and it lets me know that you want me to answer a question. It makes it a little easier. For those unaware, I am a little visually impaired, and that does help tremendously. I'd also like to remind you that we are a viewer-supported show. So there's a few ways you can help us. You can throw money at us, which is certainly helpful. But more than the money, I need your support. I need you to like, comment, subscribe, and share these videos. I need you to post my video talking about these clowns under their videos. That helps a lot. It will spread the word. You also may have noticed I am once again wearing the Truthseekers logo t-shirt. So we have some merchandise. And listen, it makes Crystal Hippie Bitches happy. And it's the perfect gift for a wackadoo. There's links in the description for both our storefronts, both Amazon and Redbubble. And other than that, here's our wonderful announcer, Ian, reminding you how you too can support our show.
Truthseekers is a viewer-supported show. Wonderful people like you who enjoy this show send pledges in the form of super chats, super stickers, super thanks, PayPal, or Cash App. Instructions for how to help are in the description. You can also join our Patreon, and for as little as $1 a month you can get extra content. Patreon supporters get a backstage pass, early access to all our production videos before they are distributed publicly, Stephen Campion's music, private writings, a monthly show journal, and more. You can also become a YouTube channel member for $5 a month. A YouTube membership includes all of the Patreon benefits, plus a special members badge, priority reply to video comments, and the live chat, plus a monthly members-only video. We thank you all, kind and generous benefactors, for supporting Truthseekers. Thank you for your generosity and support. Thanks for being here. This is Truthseekers with your host, Stephen Campion. Please rate, like, and comment on our videos or podcasts. If you are listening to an audio podcast, please rate us 5 stars to help us rise in the search rankings. If you are watching on YouTube, please like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. If you're listening to an audio podcast, we love and appreciate you listeners, but you are missing the live tapings. All our shows are recorded live with video feed. We'd love you to come be a part of our live broadcasts and tapings for the podcast. Head on over to YouTube, click the search tool, the little magnifying glass, put Truthseekers, one word in the search bar, and hit enter. You'll see a strange and mysterious guy with sunglasses. That means you found the channel. Go there, smash the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to receive up-to-date info on our YouTube channel. We welcome you to be a part of our live taping and our chat group during the live broadcasts. Seek the truth. Speak the truth. This is Truthseekers. Truthseekers. Truthseekers is a viewer-supported show. Now there's a great way to support these broadcasts and show your support. Please be sure and check out our merchandise store. Links to our 2 merchandise online stores are in the links to this video or podcast. The Amazon storefront ships super quickly in the United States, Great Britain, and in many more places. Amazon may not ship to your country or location. If that's the case, hit our second merchandise link in the description and visit our Redbubble storefront. Merchandise from our Redbubble storefront ships worldwide, but may take longer than Amazon. We've got a great deal of super high quality merchandise for you to choose from, including t-shirts, phone cases, sweatshirts, and even pillows. The feedback from our products have been overwhelmingly great. Quality products and fast shipping. People all over the world are buying some merchandise and showing their support of the show. Praise the cash! Praise the cash! Praise the cash! We thank you all, kind and generous benefactors, who are buying some merchandise and helping us to continue this journey.
All right, so we're back, and I'll be taking comments and questions for the remainder of the broadcast. Phil Harmonica reminding everybody, always do your own research. What do I think of hecklefish? Not familiar with that, right? Philharmonica, practice and pray for reasonable, rational discernment. Always do your best with what you got. Yes. Grifton has 1 million hours of sky watching. Yeah, and the best he can do is a picture of a security dome camera. He says is the best picture of a UFO ever taken in history, right? While reading WF comments, I kept plugging Truthseekers. I told them Steven is number one, and they're a close second. Well, thank you for that. Yeah, I appreciate it. So comments or questions for me, please put them in all capital letters. I appreciate that. Everyone knows the fish's name, but not the dude's name. Yeah, I don't know the guy's name. I know the fish's name, right? Yeah, and a few people have commented to me about that channel who do largely a lot of what we do, but he's getting millions of views. So he's supposed to be, he's doing something right. Dawn Richardson, audio all good tonight. Great. Well, we appreciate that. Yes, Patty says he's proven how to grift. Yeah, that's what works. And, unfortunately, we pay the truth tax here, but I'm good with that. It's okay, right? I can live with myself. I don't know how some of these people, like, especially some of these guys have like children and wives and families. Like, what do you do when you come home from work grifting all day, lying to people? Tell you what, I did a great job lying to people. Those people are so dumb they didn't know I was lying to them. Or, like, what do you tell your kids? Well, daddy sells fake stories about aliens on the internet, right? Philharmonica says, in the Bible, in Egypt, the magicians could do the same as Moses. Yeah. Seriously, Corey Good isn't in the Space Marines. No. And tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, we will be here covering some of the latest drama. Remember, Corey Good said that he was going to get those evil lawyers sanctioned and all of this, and they were going to get, this and that. And those deposition leaks were illegal. No, they weren't. And we have it right from the judge's mouth in the case. The judge said, while unprofessional, what happened was not illegal. So, judgment call. Some might say that the social benefit or good that could come from somebody leaking those depositions to a journalist who would do a good job publishing them and reporting on them, like us here, was more in the social good, was more in the benefit of society than the being professional and not releasing them, right? Yes, I am aware. And we'll be playing with some different formats here going forward, Mr. E. Lunar Sparkle, so many live streams to choose from right now. Yeah. Ganja 73 says Corey Good probably sued the Space Marines. Yeah, he probably did. Many of the comments to Jeremy Corbell's recent unrelated tweet after hiding were people hounding him about the Lazar and Weinstein on Rogan. Great stuff. Yeah, keep up the pressure. And by the way, I'm not saying to harass anybody or anything like that, or, but certainly if one of these grifters is tweeting stuff, you can tweet a Truthseeker show at them, telling the truth about the lies that they're selling, or demanding that they get Rogan, they get Lazar on Rogan to prove that he's not a fake convicted liar, right? Fake scientist. They're not going to do that. A load of us should tune in and keep plugging Truthseekers. They gained 1.5 million subs in 6 months. Well, the guy's doing something right. And to be quite honest, I don't really want to be influenced by another content creator. I mean, there's always things like ideas that I could take, but, people are suggesting I do that same format, or, that's that guy's thing. That's not my thing. But I will say this. We do have cause to celebrate because we over the weekend, we hit 8,000 subscribers. Those are hard-earned subscribers. We have a small but very great base of people here now. I'm looking at let me look at the analytics here so that I can give you a more accurate read. And it would also, so we have 8,010 subscribers now. And it passed 8,000 over the weekend. Some of you know one of my original goals was 10,000 subscribers and 1 million views. Pardon me. Must be COVID. A little bit of a cough and cold kind of thing going on, but not so bad. So one of my original goals was 10,000 subscribers and 1 million views. Right now we're showing 936,000 views on the public counter, but YouTube did notify me that we passed 1 million views over the weekend. Apparently there was an awful lot of videos that I took down, private it, delete it, and that adds up to 70,000 or, I don't know, 75,000 views, whatever, 65,000 views. So we're going to have a big panel show celebration when the public counter hits that 1 million views, and that'll be coming in the next month or, maybe a little bit more. I'm more concerned with the show growing, right? Than these, I don't know why, but I made that goal. Like I got to get to this goal. Nothing's going to change. The numbers will hit and then we'll keep rolling on. I guess we'll form some new goals. But we will be back tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Lunar Sparkles is here and saying, still not sunset here yet. Feeding raccoons. The deer breached our fence. Water jug. Watering plants. Yeah, I had a bad thing happen over the week. Well, it's really not that bad. Some of you know that we purchased this land that's out in the middle of the woods. And I went there a month ago and I set up a big tent and sort of setting up camp. I wanted the tent to be like a temporary tool shed. And I checked on it every week. I haven't checked on it in 2 weeks. So this last weekend, I went back to check on the tent and the land and do a little bit of work there. And the tent was gone. Somebody took the whole tent. And I don't know who. So I'm thinking it was either kids or it might have been somebody from the Forest Service. Sometime there's public land right around that land. And it may have been somebody from the Forest Service who thought maybe a camper strayed onto private property and put a tent up near the public state game lands. And so they took the tent. I don't know. But the good news is it was like $50 on Facebook Marketplace. So it's not a huge loss. But now I'm going to have to put up all kinds of, private property signs, and we're going to have to really mark the borders. I'm thinking about building like a rock wall around the border of the property. That's going to take a long, long time, but that will make it a little clearer to people. This is private property. I know I'm in the middle of this huge forest and there's nothing around for miles, but this is our property. So if there's a tent there, you don't go and take the tent. And I mean, they took it, poles and all, like it was just gone. But interestingly, they left like a cooler and some other junk that I had laying around in this camp. So I'm going to, I'm putting up another, I'm not backing down. I'm putting another tent up this weekend if I could find a cheap one, even if I find just a little dome tent, just to put it there to say, this is my land. If I want a tent here, there's going to be a tent here. And then, of course, I have trail cams that I'm going to hide. I'm going to put trail cams pointing at the land in such a way, pointing at the property in such a way that if anybody wanders onto my property in the middle of that forest, I'm going to know. And they likely will not be able to see those trail cams. I'm going to put them high up, pointing down. But I'd like to know who wandered onto my property and took that tent. My other thought it was children, kids play in the woods sometimes. And but the funny thing is I've never seen a single soul there on those trails. You saw me walk some of those trails. They go for miles. I've never seen a single human being there. So, but I'm not there except for once a week. If I'm lucky, I get to go there and do some things. I even thought for a time that maybe, there was these huge rain and windstorms. So for all I know, it wasn't staked down real good because it's so rocky, you can't get stakes into the ground. So it was just kind of like there, gravity was holding it in place. For all I know, it blew up and blew away. I don't know. I don't know what happened, but this turns into this whole thing because now I have to go to the local police, and I do have to make a report because if this stuff continues to happen, I want it documented. And then I got to go to the Forest Service and let them know what happened because they're close by my land. They may have taken the tent. And it also may have been a local that lives right near my land. There's no neighbors for miles. It's in the middle of nowhere. But I was thinking that if I live there and I walk those trails or something, and by the way, those are public, the trails are supposed to be roads, public roads, so anybody can walk the trails. You're just not supposed to walk off the trail because it's all private property for miles. But I was thinking that one of the local neighbors might walk those trails and might have seen this tent and thought somebody was like squatting there or camping there, and they know that's private property. You can't do that. Well, you can if you're the guy that owns the land and you're the guy that put the tent up on your land. So it is what it is. I will tell you this. I've gotten a great deal of no trespassing signs. I've got cameras and trail cams going in this week. And I'm going to try my very best to spend more time there and to accelerate our plans. I did post in the Discord. And by the way, you should join our Discord. Lots of cool people there. If you like these live chats, the Discord, you can do it 24/7. And so I posted in the Discord. Here, I'll share this. I'm getting my paperwork done this week for the building plans. I have to do something called a plot plan, which is basically just to explain to the local township exactly what I'm building and where. By 48-foot long driveway. And this in the front here, under the numbers, is the trail. I wouldn't even call it a road. But these are the plans that I'm drawing up. I still have a little more work to do here, but so we're filing our cabin affidavit and plot plan this week with the local township. And then I really am going to, due to this situation, most of me thinks that it may be a neighbor who just didn't know that I bought that land. There's a couple of neighbors nearby. I tried knocking on the one nearby neighbor's door because he's blocking the road with a plow truck. Haven't talked to him yet. And there's another guy that shoots guns off another mile down the other way. I'm going to try to talk to the neighbors, at least introduce myself, because it may just be as stupid as a local neighbor saw that tent and said, somebody's camping here and this is private property. People can't just camp here. Well, that's true, but you can if you own the land, So it is what it is. I lost a $50 tent. We're going to chalk it up to experience, and I'm going to increase our security and awareness there. But these are this is the plot plan that we were filing with the local township. So there's going to be a 16x24 workshop and storage that's attached to the main cabin structure, 16x48. Go big or go home. And that's 16x48, two floors. But like in a lot of cabins, the second floor is only going to be half of the whole structure. So the other half will be one big great room, with a big fireplace, and we'll see. But because of this situation with apparently a thief, well, I don't even want to say a thief yet. We don't know who took the tent. There's a reason that I just went on Facebook Marketplace and got like a $50 tent. I knew very well, I even mentioned to my wife, like, somebody might take this tent, or, somebody may knock it down, or whatever. So it's no big loss. But this has caused me to reevaluate my plans for the spring and summer here. And I am going to go balls to the wall building. I'm at least going to build that 16 by 24 and that outhouse and shower house. I can stay in that while I'm building the main big structure. I'm going to accelerate my plans so that I show some activity there. I'm putting up no trespassing, private property signs. I'm even putting up a custom sign that says, that's going to be hand, painted or whatever, that says, I just bought this property on this date. Building, whatever, building the cabin. Any questions, call, and leave my cell phone number. Like, it may be as simple as a local resident thinking that there's a squatter or some criminals hanging out or living in there, and they didn't want that, so they took the tent. Hopefully, the situation will revolve itself. I am going to put up all of these no trespassing private property signs. I got a gang of them on Amazon, like hundreds of them. I'm putting them on every tree through the whole front, back, and sides of the property, like every tree. There could be, once I'm finished, and part of me thinks I should have done that already. Maybe that's it. Somebody didn't know, or they just said, hey. The other issue could be that it's quite common that people will go camping once in some area and just leave the tent. They don't take it with them. They just say, forget it. We'll never use this again. Camping sucks. And they get in their car and they leave a tent. I talked to somebody who suggested that might be what happened. Somebody just thought somebody camped there one night and left the tent. Hey, free tent. They might have passed by it on the trail for weeks and thought, tent's still there, I'm going to take it. Whatever happened. I'm going to put all these signs up. I'm putting trail cams, 4 trail cams that I have pointed towards the property. So if anybody even approaches the property going forward, I'll know it. Those trail cams will be very, very well hidden and up high, so nobody's going to know they're even there. Someone also suggested the next tent I put up, I might sew inside of it a GPS tracker, so that if somebody steals the tent again, I'm going to find you, and I'm not knocking on your door and being nice. I'm coming with law enforcement. Sometimes you have to send a message to if there is some scumball in that area that just thinks everything in the woods. There are some guys, they just think, hey, I've been walking these woods for years, and my house is 2 miles that way, and this is all forest, and this is mine, and they don't own it. I bought it. I don't know what happened. It's going to be a mystery to me, though. It will bother me because now, instead of taking tools and leaving them there in the tent, which is what I plan to do, now I'm going to have to, carry tools to and from every time I go, or maybe the tent, or, I don't really need a tent there if I'm going to carry the tools back and forth. And for what I'm going to be doing, one 5-gallon bucket will hold all the tools I need: a hatchet, a bow saw, and some other saws. I'm doing everything with hand tools there, like an Amish guy. We've got the bark scraper. What is that called? A draw knife. Everything will fit in a 5-gallon bucket. So I'm just going to fill up that 5-gallon bucket with all my tools for the day, carry the bucket in, do my work, and carry the bucket back out. But I'd like to get those signs up, get the trail cams up, and start clearing land. I'm going to be cutting down a lot of trees that are in the way, and I want to show a lot of activity there. I'd also like to get a driveway put in there, and I need to get a big, huge dump truck full of gravel delivered, and a few other things. I don't think that we'll have problems going forward. But boy, what a way to ruin your weekend, right? Like, I was in a good mood. I go there and I'm looking and I'm like, where did the tent go? It was right here, gone. Tent's gone. But these kind of things happen. Yeah, taxpayer says just put trespassers will be shot on site. Yeah, well, there's a lot of fun things you can do. There's motion detectors that have barking dogs and shotgun blasts. That'll get their detention, right? Well, I am not going to stand for thieves coming on my land and taking anything that belongs to me. I don't care if it's a cheap tent. You're not coming on my land. So we're going to increase security and really situational awareness. We'll put those trail cams up, and if I think about it, I'll get some more trail cams. We'll do whatever we have to do just to make sure that I can see if anybody's walking around on that property while I'm not there. It is what it is. These are some of the hazards of being very, very remote in the middle of the mountains in the forest, which is what I wanted. So I'm not gonna cry or complain about the fact that this happened. I'm just gonna change some things, change my plans a little bit, and I am certainly going to put all those signs up. I'm certainly going to try to show some activity there so that people know, like, oh, I guess, if it is local neighbors or something, or local whoever, and they start seeing somebody clearing land and a build plot, they're going to know, like, oh, somebody must have bought that, and they're going to leave it alone. Most people, in my experience, there are very respectful of other people's property, which is why I was so shocked that somebody did that. Because the other cabin, I left an air compressor right in the front yard of the other cabin for a week, and nobody touched it. And everything at the other cabin is always right where I left it. So maybe it was naive of me, but I assumed it would be like that over there, even more so because there's nobody there. It's just woods, right? It's just absolutely woods. But these things happen. We will adjust and we will move on. Dude, where's my tent? I know. It was a nice tent too. Kind of pissed me off. It was a Coleman Weathermaster, which, if anybody knows camping, Coleman Weathermasters are awesome tents because they never leak. They never leak, and they're great tents. I'll find another one on Facebook Marketplace. In fact, I may have already found a few. But because of this situation with somebody stealing a tent, I only want to put like a cheap $20 dome tent up or something, just so that whoever stole the first one is like, oh shit, there's another one. Like maybe you'll get the hint when you see all the signs, you dummy, that somebody bought this. It is what it is. I'm not going to let it ruin my plans for that place. It's beautiful there. We'll do what we have to do to protect the property, right? Can't stand a thief. That's what this channel is all about, right? Yeah, we don't like that. And JD says it's like Jehovah's Witnesses testifying to the reality of miracles and no one else. Oh, those guys knock on my door. We have no soliciting here at my home. Like you can't knock on my door to try to sell me anything in this township. But the Jehovah's Witnesses, they're not selling. Well, they are selling you something, but they still knock. So anytime somebody knocks on my door, if I'm not expecting somebody, I go, oh, the Jehovah's are back. Get a self-supporting tent. You could just pop up when you get there. Yeah. But listen, Artisan Tony, it's my property. If I want to leave a tent up there and throw tools in it, I should be allowed to do that without some dirtball coming and taking it, And that's largely why this bothered me, because it's that feeling of violation. Like, how dare you fucker come on my land? Like, are you insane? Like, and the other thing that's surprising to me, Artisan Tony, is that everybody around there's got guns, right? So, like, if you go on somebody else's property, you literally are risking getting shot. People don't play. So I was kind of surprised. I was very surprised. I'm chalking it up to, it's one of three things. It's a neighbor that thought somebody's camping in there and they shouldn't be. I'll take the tent. Or it's the Forest Service who said somebody wandered onto the private side here. The state game land is back there. We'll take the tent. Or it's kids, kids messing around. DJ D says, no trespassing, dummy. Yeah. Scroll up 3 messages for my question. I'm missing it. I'm not seeing your original message. I saw the thing about the Jehovah's Witnesses. Put it in again if it's important. Sorry about that. Yeah. Lady wouldn't leave me alone. We had a Kingdom Hall of them down the road. Uh-oh. Yeah, just repost it. I don't see it. You're like, go 3 messages back. Like, come on, man. I'm half blind, just so you know, right? And you want me to like scroll through 100 messages looking for that, whatever you said, right? B. Baker, reminding everybody about the Truthseekers Discord. Yep. Well, post your message now, JD, or we're going to bounce on out of here, right? We have done our due diligence. Oh, Lunar Sparkle says, I put a sign once, no solicitations, especially Jehovah's Witnesses. Yeah. Patty Wilhelm says, it's retaliation from aliens. Yeah, could be, right? It could be. JD, I'm looking for your message. I don't see any message from you within. Yeah, so repost it, right? Phil Harmonica says, if anything, just post it. I know because I had to do it in my acre farm in Tennessee. Well, yeah, you got to have at least signs so that people can't say, oh, I didn't know it was private property. I'm putting a goddamn sign on every what are your thoughts on the would-be whistleblowers all being former aviary members? Yeah, it could be, but that was the 80s, early 80s grift squad. So, and the grift always goes on. Maybe they're back. It could be some of them. It could be people like Doty and other people that just aren't credible, right? The blue space chicken stole the tent. I know, it could be. And we'll find out more tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern time. We'll be covering the latest garbage from Corey Good. Wait till you get a load of this nonsense. It's great. We put a bumper sticker in their minivan from my husband's band. I wonder how many hours they drove around with it on there. Yeah, like Hal put off, Kit Green went to Arrow. Yeah, it could be the usual wackadoos. So that's why it's a nothing burger, because those guys didn't have proof in the early 80s when they were pushing the grift, and they don't have proof now. So it could very well be that. Darth Grigus says, we need supreme truth about the universe and aliens and such. Anyone agree? Yeah. And Dawn Richardson reminding everybody to please tickle the like. And yes, we will do that. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share these videos. It really, really does help. All right. So we have done our due diligence here tonight, friends. Like I said, we'll be back tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern time. We'll probably be here all week. Not going to the cabin until Friday, I think, this week, which should leave me with plenty of time. Yeah, plenty of time to do some shows here. I've got a great week planned, and we're finally going to get some things off my to-do list here this week. So join me every night this week at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that's all we got for you, friends. Until next time, my name is Stephen Cambion. Good night, and God bless all of you.